Agent must fix a mission gone wrong while being hunted by an assassin and his own past.
Welcome back down to the bar. Long play video for Cocktails and Shattered Dreams, where we're running through 100 films that Kev nominally likes, but has put into his all-time favourite list.
Yeah,
for
potentially knows. Yes.
Has seen a advert on a bus shelter at some stage.
Yes, exactly.
With that description, obviously we could be watching any one of 8 almost identical films.
Now, come on.
But we are, in actual fact, so number 63 on the list. We're talking today about Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yes, that is the one. Yes.
That's
if you guessed correctly, well done.
Yeah, it's clearly Fallout, in comparison to all the others. It's exactly.
It was very, very different. Yeah. So, well, had you watched this? Because I know you were saying you'd seen like 60 to maybe 80% of them. So, had you seen this one? Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, like, it has to be said, all the Mission Impossible kind of blend together quite a lot. So, there's obviously the first one where he blows up the fish tank. There's the Philip Seymour Hoffman one. There's the Burj Khalifa one, and there's the reloading of the arms one, which is obviously this one. And then and then I watched the film and realised that I had actually only just watched that fight sequence, and I hadn't watched the rest of the film. So I can't remember whether
what a delight.
I either just watched that scene online somewhere, or I got to that scene and was just like, I don't want to watch the rest of this, and switched it off.
I mean, it's such a funny meme scene, isn't it? That I'd be amazed if you hadn't seen it on somewhere. Like, I'm sure that must be on so many places.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out whether it was that you turned the film off because you didn't like it. We'll find out as we go on. I because I loved Mission Impossible, like the TV show. But it has to be said, one of the best things about that I always thought was the choosing of the gang to go on the mission, which was a bit like Mask, where you would and I'm sure Mask copied this, where they would then choose the people for each one. And I was a bit disappointed that they don't still do that. I was like, but that was almost like the beginning of James Bond, where he's sort of finishing off the other mission. It was just fun to see all of the people that they chose to be in this mission, like doing other missions. And that was, that was a bit disappointing. It's funny, isn't it? Because I was looking at that because, the first one, they kill everyone off, don't they? So the whole team has to be rebuilt. And so, and I was reading up about that, where Cruise didn't want that to happen, apparently, but the director was saying, I do want it. So, and I guess to your point, that must have been very similar to, I guess, the concept of the TV series. Whether they all got killed off for the TV series, maybe not. But maybe that same concept. But
well, I think there was always sort of 3 or 4 that didn't get killed off, and so I think that was they were the regulars, but then they were the guest appearance. Whereas now it's it's a bit like he's just got his crew, right? Because they're sort of Simon Pegg, and they're just in all of them, aren't they? And then they were bringing people back from other films, and I was like, oh God, am I supposed to understand where this person is from? And then I was like, no, this isn't important. No. So.
It's fine. Yeah. No, it's one of those things, isn't it? Because they when you watch them, it's difficult, isn't it? It's kind of like the same thing, I guess, with the people that like Fast and the Furious. That you kind of want those characters in it still, don't you? So it's hard because you're kind of like, oh yeah, you like Luther. Luther was always one of the good characters, so you want him to be back in there. But you're right, then if they're always there, then I guess it sort of changes the dynamic a bit. But I do think it means you get some funnier scenes as well. You get better connection between, I think, Luther, Benji and Ethan. I think there's good banter between them. But, whether it means, I guess, they're all very different or very samey is, I guess, up for debate then. That's the issue.
But But that's almost the thing, isn't it? It's the comparison, obviously, with Bond. And, you know, I wouldn't say that all the James Bond films are like super different and, you know, have storylines that are just completely out there each time. So almost, are the other characters like Q and M and, you know, and Felix and actually... You know, and I wondered about that, like how closely you feel or you think this is almost sort of the new generation's Bond films, because they feel sort of like there's a lot of overlap. Principally for me, almost, is that these are action adventure. Like the you know, killing of people is usually off screen, and there's. You know, it is almost not a kid's movie, but it is like a family movie. Yeah. So I wondered, like, how that compares with Bond for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'd say that I would definitely think Bond is a family movie. The ones that we always used to watch when we were kids, I guess most of the Daniel Craig ones probably as well, maybe a couple not. But yeah, I'd say definitely the Bond movies were family movies, because you definitely, well, whether they were or not, we definitely watched them as a family, whether that was the right thing to do. But yeah, no, it's a good point. I do think, like, so I was looking at like the longest franchises, because I didn't realise the first film was in 1996 and then the last one was in 2025. So 29 years he's been doing this. So that's, you know, it's a long time to be playing that character, and like 30 years to be doing the action sequences. So yeah, and obviously it starts in 96, it goes to 2025. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Mission Impossible is definitely the newer Bond. But then, sadly, you know, AI also told me that the newest franchise, which is probably replaced Bond, I'd say, is probably Fast and Furious. That's been going for 24 years. I did not know that. Since 2001. And they've had 11 films, so they're like... way more. So yeah, I guess Mission Impossible, I think, did. I mean, looking into it, it was interesting what it was saying about Cruise really like to do the physical. He want to bring back that physical part of the action movie. So where, you know, obviously everyone knows he does his own stunts and all that, and there's all the stories about them. And so, yeah, I guess it did. And, you know, it did bring that back where you know that. And so you kind of feel, it does feel a bit more, adds a bit more tension to the movies, which I think is good. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's been a good franchise. There's a couple that are a bit like dodgy, but I think, like you said, they're just, you know, you're right. Maybe it's the modern adventure film. And, you know, can't go wrong with an adventure film, can you? Like we said, you know, where did they all go? Well, maybe this is it. This is what's happened. They've been actionified, or cruised. I don't know which one. What's the right adjective?
Yeah, so, yeah. No, that's because these are sort of more family films than Fast and Furious, right? I've not seen any of the Fast and Furious. Yeah, but I don't like. Are they a bit more graphic?
I mean, if anything, if there was any word that describes Fast and the Furious, it is family. So, I mean, you know, familiar. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I've not seen many of the Fast and Furious films, so I don't know if I could say that. Are they family films? Probably. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, probably not. But I think, like the same as what you said. I don't think deaths happen on screen. I think they're generally off screen. And then, you know, it's like superheroes. Like they have two cars hit each other and neither of them wearing seatbelts and they come out the windshield and both of them are fine. So it's like, you know, it's silly stuff. So I don't know. I guess, yeah, it's probably right. It's probably less open to all of the family, maybe open to like the teenagers onwards. Yeah. I mean, do you think that you would watch this with, oh, well, this is good. Well, would you watch, I mean, outside of how you feel about Mission Impossible, would you feel comfortable about watching these with Poppy or Poppy watching these? Do you think you'd be concerned at all about her watching them?
In a couple more years. But you know, she's a big fan of the Jumanji movies, which obviously sort of do have action and shooting and stuff. Now, like I think the fact that they're all based in a computer game does make it a bit safer because it's not kind of in real life. True. But I don't think this really feels like it's in real life either. So. I would say, especially because I think the similarities for me with Mission Impossible and Bond is there's almost like, especially the old Bonds, there's like 4 action set pieces that like are clearly the set pieces that you build up to, and then the rest of the time, you know, there's a bit of talking, or, you know, a bit of sort of mild action. But like if you go back, especially to the Connery and the early. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like early Moore and Sean Connery, it was like, oh, here's the car chase with the sort of bridge flip, and that was it. And like you almost like there's very definite these are the set pieces, and that's what I always thought with Mission Impossible. This is why I say like, oh, there's the Burj Khalifa one, and there's the blowing up this one, and and we'll talk about it for this one, but like there's almost sort of set pieces, so then you're not really ever on the edge of your seat because you kind of, it feels almost safe in that regard, which I guess sort of makes them a bit more accessible, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I guess like you never think any of the main characters are ever gonna get killed, do you? No. I guess the good thing is like that they do their own stunts mainly, so that makes the action sequence a little bit more like interesting, where you're like, oh, this was like, like obviously there's the one when Tom Cruise is on the outside of the plane and it takes off, and you're like, he did, like, obviously he was harnessed, but you're like, yeah, but he actually did that. It was outside the plane and it took off. This one they did the what is it? Is it the Halo dives that they call it? And he actually did that, and he had to learn it for a year. He did like 176 like jumps, which is just bonkers. And that was when he had, he knew. He broke his ankle in this one. Yeah. Did you know about that? Yeah. So he'd broken his ankle then when he did all those. So yeah, it's, I mean, maybe that sort of adds a little bit to it, because we all know it's been so well publicized that he does his own stunts. So that adds a little bit of extra spice to it. But yeah, you're right. It's pretty safe, isn't it? Pretty much none of the key characters are ever going to die. So you're like, yeah, this is okay. No one's really going to get shot, are they? So yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And so obviously this gets on your list, like, is this why is this on your list? Why this one more than any others? And like, have you seen them all and a fan?
I have seen them all, apart from, weirdly, I wanted to see the very final one in the cinema. I missed it, and now I haven't seen it yet, so I do need to watch that one. It's funny actually, because I was thinking about this as I watched it, and I thought you obviously didn't have any on your list, and obviously I've now got one on my list, but I haven't got any others. And it is like the fact that it has gone for, I guess it's finished now. It did go on for 29 years. I mean, that is pretty phenomenal. That's an incredible franchise. And I was looking at like the money as well. Like, it made a lot of money in pretty much every single film. Made a lot of money. And funnily enough, this one made the most in profit versus gross versus original budget. And so I guess yeah, like in terms of then like why it's on the list, I think it, I mean, it's 30 years of our lives, right? So for me, definitely, I've seen pretty much all of them apart from the last one. So, I think it's everyone knows now, obviously Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt, that's like, he's synonymous with that. There's so many different, there's the face pulls, the voice changes. It's like completely synonymous with that now as well, like the rubber masks. I think, was it the second one had John Woo in, John Woo was the director, and so obviously there was the doves everywhere. And so there's and there's the Jesus pose as well. Is that in Mission Impossible 3 when he's on the mountain? So, there's like all these sort of things, because it is, it is a big franchise. So yeah, so like, I think, I think they've been a big part, and, some of them have been good, some of them have been great, some of them have been average, maybe even some of them have been bad. But, I think, for me, this one, I think there's a couple of key scenes that I really like, and I think that's why I picked this one. The original would have been probably up there as well, I think. Original might be better in terms of story, potentially, I think, than this one. But the action sequence in this one is like next level good. So it's pretty impressive. So that's kind of why I think I put it on the list. I was like, and obviously also it's got Henry Cavill in as well, and everyone loves Henry Cavill. So if you say you don't like Henry Cavill, we should stop this podcast immediately.
Controversially, I said, I said to my wife that it's got Henry Cavill, and she said, I don't know who he is. It's like, no, you do. He's The Witcher and he's Superman. And she was like, oh yeah, he's the best Superman. And I was like, I'm not sure I would say that. And she was like, well, no, not apart from Christopher Reeve, obviously, just like the best one of recent times. And I was like, okay, like that.
Agreed.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And like you said, like he's done, Witch, he's done like some big I really liked, what was that film that he was in? Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, I really liked that as well. I think you didn't like it, did you?
Yeah.
But I thought he was good in that. And he's kind of like see what he could have been like if he had been Bond, because he obviously went for Bond at the same time as Craig. So that would have been interesting. But no, he just...
Have you seen the Ungentlemanly Warfare one as well? I think that's...
I have seen that, yes. I think he's good in that as well. Have you seen that?
I haven't, but I'm half expecting it in the top 10 because it looks very much like a Kev film.
Well, no spoilers. Yeah, I have seen it. That's actually a pretty good film. It's actually not bad. I mean, obviously it's a heavy action film. The stories, it's more of a Jason Statham action film rather than a, great storyline action film. So it's more just have a bit of fun and sit back and enjoy yourself. So yeah, but yeah, no, I think he's really good. Yeah. So I think, for me, there's a couple of key scenes in it. I think that are really good in this one as well. I think they've got a lot of the cast is actually a bit wider, and they bring back obviously some of the older characters. And I think they have a lot of good, really strong female leads in it as well. They bring Alec Baldwin back as well. He's in. So, I think it's a good, like this one pretty much has everyone. And then obviously you've got a great, little twist as well. And then there's a couple of like incredible action sequences. So yeah, I think with all that, I was like, well, if I was going to pick one,
nice.
This is the one I'd pick. So here we are. Now you had to watch it, which was good because you hadn't seen it all. So this was the right one to have picked.
Yeah, and that seems more justified and more explanation about why it's on the list than arguably any of the other films we've had so far on the list.
Others. I know. This is what happens when you do a tiny little bit of research, like little brain waves, like the neurons just connect a little bit more again, and then they dim down again. If you asked me again in half an hour, I'd have forgotten about all of this. But, I think, I can't believe it's been going for 30 years. That's crazy, isn't it? It really, that just amazed me. Like, it's an incredible franchise to have done that, especially with one person as the lead for that length of time. But yeah. So, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess
he's 50,
we better get onto
this film. So.
Is he? Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, it does seem that everyone's doing action films a bit later, isn't it? Obviously, Liam Neeson we've covered on the pod already. And then, Keanu Reeves as well. Like, he's obviously did the John Wick movies and he was, getting older then. So, I guess, if they're looking after themselves and, they probably have a little bit of CGI helping them out as well. But, oh my God, that just reminded me of Harrison Ford doing the horrible. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't always work. You can be too old. Yeah. And Harrison Ford has cemented that for us with his final Indiana Jones.
I did,
but yeah.
In my research, I did, when Tom Cruise was asked whether the last one was going to be the last one, there's a sentence that said that he was being inspired by Harrison Ford's continued success in the Indiana Jones films. Cruise stated that he would like to keep making Mission Impossible films until he is likewise in his 80s. And I was just like, Kev's not going to agree with a lot of that sentence.
No, that movie was absolutely horrific. I don't even think I watched all of it. It was so terrible. It was so obviously CGI'd. He's way too old to be playing an action hero. Go away. Let someone else have the franchise now. You have enough money. Go and do something else, And he was on, he was doing that new TV show Shrinking, and he was really good in that. I was like, great, just do that. Why do you have to cash in again? Leave it alone.
Just do that.
I feel like he's tainted the franchise now, whereas I feel like as much as whether you like Mission Impossible and whether you like Tom Cruise or not, I feel like he got out, it was still going well and he was still able to do enough in the films to get out at the right time, whereas Harrison Ford definitely did not get out at the right time. Definitely at least one too many, maybe two too many. So,
I think yeah. Well, it kind of feels, and obviously this is an Indiana Jones conversation that I think we've already had, but it feels like they wanted to go out with a bang, and so then when you do a bad movie, you're like, well, we can't finish on that movie, so let's do another one, and then that one's bad, and you're like, well, I don't want to go out on that one, so then you do another one. But if you just keep doing bad movies, all of a sudden there were as many bad Indiana Jones films as there are good ones now, and that's a bit of a shame. But we digress. So let's get to Mission Impossible.
Let's get to the sponsors. Yes.
Yeah. And Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, sponsored this week, our drinks are brought to us by Out again. Ethan Hunt has been on lots of different missions with different people, different cities and different rooftops to run over. And honestly, he can't remember which ones he was in Dubai for, which ones he was in Prague for. Kind of all runs together. And that's exactly the same with our lives. You have different events. You can't remember who was at that festival, who was at that wedding, which time did you go to Lisbon and which time did you go to Dubai. They're all different memories crowded together, and the photos from them are split across all 6 different phones, some of whom have been written out of the franchise. Yeah. We all have those friends that we don't speak to anymore because they just didn't make it past the sequel. Yeah. But without Out, you solved that problem. All of the photos are stored in one place that's ordered by the events as they happen. So you don't have to worry about that person who's been written out and getting the photos from them. They're all there on Out for you. All the photos, videos, songs, places you've visited, rooftops you've run over, all one shared timeline built by everyone so that everyone has access to them. You can download the app for free on iOS and Android. You can make a memory, download the photos for free afterwards, or keep them all in Out for $1.99 each. That just allows you to then be able to actually, scroll through and just be able to remember each memory and relive it whenever you want to. So, thanks to Out for buying us our drinks.
That was great. I'll tell you what, they've outdone themselves this week. That was, I could just picture Tom Cruise getting a little selfie with Henry Cavill as he's just falling down the cliff. And he's like, where was that again? And I think you're right. And then he can share it with Luther and Benji and be like, hey guys, look what just happened. Yeah, nice. Good time.
They were like, which one was the helicopter where it crashed? That was actually 3 of them. Let's look through and go back onto the Out and find out.
How good. And you can relive all of them. You're like, which one was your favourite, guys? Let me look at the first one again. It's great news. Yes.
So, what drink are you pouring yourself out for?
Oh, well, this one, I think, it's a little bit grittier, this one. Gotta be, it's a long one as well. So I think you need like a nursing drink a little bit more. So for me, I had Dark and Stormy, Also, Ethan's background. Is he actually the mole? Nice. Is he going to get down? Oh, who knows? That's what I went for. How about you?
I thought I'd stick with the Bond comparison. So I'd have a vodka martini, but I'd have a bone dry vodka martini, or actually what's called a Churchill vodka martini, which is basically the vodka, and then you just stare at a bottle of vermouth. You don't actually put any of it in your drink. So it still, counts as a vodka martini, but it's just way more alcoholic because in actual fact, it's just neat vodka.
It's just vodka. Wow.
Kind of like Bond, good work, but just a bit more over the top. So.
Yeah. I mean, that nodding dog, it loves its alcohol, isn't it? It really does. Yeah.
That's why it's always nodding.
Yeah. Oh dear. Nice. Well, okay. Well, let's get on to the reaction then. So you'd seen the reloading of the guns, but hadn't seen the rest of the film. You've seen a lot of them, but not all of them. So what was the reaction to this one?
I mean, cruisy. It's just got to be that, hasn't it? You've got to bring that back.
Nice.
You've got
it does have
the motorbike. You've got the running. It's it's just cruisy. The action set pieces are great. There's a lot of exposition along the way. There's a lot of talking.
There was one bit,
and I kind of felt like actually for the first time, I feel like you should be in this movie. And as they're in the catacombs of Paris, you should just walk in and be like, guys, you're overthinking it. It doesn't need to be this complicated.
Yes, just get on with it. Yes, there was a couple of scenes where they, I think especially the one when they're in the Jeep on the way to the, trying defusing the bombs, and then Benji works out how to do it, and they're like, hold on, so we've got to take the bomb's got to be going off before we can cut the wires, and we have to take, and then each stage, they explained each stage. I was like, oh, Andy's going to hate this so much. It's like, so hold on, let me just spell this out to you exactly what we're going to do, even though it doesn't matter because we know it will happen on the final second and no one really cares whether the thing was out, the wire was cut or whatever. It's irrelevant. But let's explain it 12 million times anyway. So I imagine, yes, you must have found that pretty annoying.
And because also it didn't need to be when the countdown was done, because they kind of had two, right? Where if he hadn't have pulled the safe switch out, then it would have exploded. So actually they could have just said, right, well, you've got that as the time limiter. So you don't actually need the fact that you can only cut them once the timer is going. Like, you don't need it. It's completely
it's true.
Pointless to the script. You're just like, okay, well, you're right.
You could have just added that in. Yeah, overthinking it. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I did think that it was just like, there was just so many, and even the one scene where they're like, the baddies are just like telling them the exact plan, and like Henry Cavill's just come in behind Cruise, and they haven't explained who he is or anything, but they just lay out the whole plan in front of him. You're just like, they're very trusting, actually, these baddies. They don't mind, if he's got in, then that's fine.
They reckon they got him. They're like, look at his tash, we can take him. We're all right. We'll get him. Yeah. It's
I would like to say I have parachuted through a rain cloud myself. I have actually parachuted through a storm cloud. It really hurts, which they don't show.
Yeah.
Basically, you go through the water, so you get drenched, but you're traveling quite quickly. So it's a bit stingy. Am I Tom Cruise? Is this just a mask that I've been wearing for 138 podcasts? Wow. Maybe. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I hope when we say which character you're going to be, I mean, if you've basically done a Halo jump, I think we should be having you as Ethan Hunt, and I'll be disappointed if you just pick the guy who picks up a car or someone, or the random guy in the helicopter.
Fine, I could be Tom Cruise. I would say the other thing, some of the action pieces felt quite CGI-y, and I'm not sure whether that was me or like, I don't know. Yeah, there was some that I was just like, these feel, like there was more CGI in the background of some of them. Like when he's struggling on the helicopter, obviously he jumps on the helicopter. Why is the helicopter taking all the dirty laundry out as well? I didn't understand. What was that supposed to be? That he then tries to drop on top of the other. Basically, the whole helicopter bit, I thought wasn't very good, because you don't ram a helicopter into another helicopter and think that you're both going to survive. Like, that's just
must.
That is Fast and Furious.
Yes, that is true. That is Fast and Furious. Yeah. But yeah, he did apparently do that. So that was all real. And he was the one actually manning the helicopter himself, old Cruisey. So, that did all happen. So that is real. But yes, whether the best scenario is to try and, you're right, any which way you look at that, it is Fast and Furious, isn't it? If he decided to get close to the other helicopter and jump, that's still Fast and the Furious. Like, there's no real way around it. Like, how were you going to get it? And then realistically, it's all a little bit silly anyway, because surely Henry Cavill just goes, no, I'll just throw this out. Like, I don't need this. Yeah. Just throw out the helicopter and then we're done. I mean, I guess he might not know of the unfortunate Death Star problem where they go, the bombs don't work if I just take that one bit out. Oh, that's convenient. Yes.
Yeah, no, I did think, and that was also, I kind of, does Tom Cruise know that he's not Ethan Hawke? That was my other concern, because
Ethan Hunt or Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hunt, yeah. So yeah.
I was gonna say, I hope he knows he's not Ethan Hawke.
Does he even know he's not Ethan Hawke? No, sorry, Ethan Hunt.
Yes.
Because there's so many bits where it's. He just thinks that he's actually that character, and they put a lot on that character. I don't know. Again, kind of in my head, it kind of made me think about the difference between America and the UK with like James Bond, where they're like, Ethan Hunt, he couldn't retire because he just knew that if it weren't for him, then the world just wouldn't survive. Whereas with Bond, you're like, well, if he doesn't do it, someone else will. It's fine. Like someone else will step up to the plate. He can retire. It'll be fine.
He's around the corner. He'll be all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
that was a bit of a funny one, isn't it? That they add that in.
Yeah. And there's a few just too many bits where they're like, he's a really great guy. He's a really nice guy. He's a bit unlucky with the ladies, but that's because he's got a strange religion. No, sorry, that's Tom Cruise. No, sorry.
No.
Let's actually go back to Ethan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? Because they obviously because I don't know if you've seen the last two as well, but it's all sort of super connected then because they're all in. I think she's in the last one as well, the last two. So like Ilsa, and so I think that's why they're setting this all up. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess they introduced the wife back in as well, which I think actually that was quite good. I think the way they deal with that was quite clever because they're like, oh, I mean, obviously, I knew, obviously, because I've seen the film. So when they're in the Jeep and they're like, but I wonder why they did this. And they're like, oh, it's because it's smallpox. He wants to release. Yeah, but I wonder why they had like specific doctors brought over. And then once you know, you're like, oh God, yeah, you guys have really, really made this obvious, haven't you?
Yeah.
But I thought that was good. And like, obviously she sees him like really early on in that scene. And I think that's good. That's a good scene. But yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, they sort of set it up in lots of different ways, don't they? I mean, did you feel, because obviously some of the other ones you hadn't seen previously, obviously some of these are returning characters and they do have backstories linked into the other films. Did you feel that, I mean, obviously it's Mission Impossible, so it doesn't really make much difference, but did you feel like you'd missed out on anything or
No, well, funnily enough, with the wife, not really, because you're kind of like, okay, he's got a wife and then, they've separated and that's kind of fine. With the assassin, like, I don't know, she was sort of almost a bit random because again, like it just feels like they overcomplicated. She was trying to kill him, but she wasn't trying to kill him, but she was trying to get the bad guy out so that she could kill him, but then she doesn't kill him because she doesn't want to. I was just like, well, and actually with her character, she says to Tom Cruise, I have to kill him or I never stop running. And you're like, no, you're selling that to the wrong person because he's like, never stop running. That sounds like my dream.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. Yeah, like on what place? Like roof, or what do you mean?
Yeah, she was. But was she in the one before? Because I'm fairly sure I've seen the one before. But again, I couldn't. Nation. Yeah, but then poor old Jeremy Renner wasn't in it anymore. Yeah, so I was just along for the ride. I wasn't that worried.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. On a lot of them, it doesn't really make much difference, does it? And this one particularly is very actiony, so I don't think it really matters that much. Even though they do bring everyone together, they obviously massively explain the wife coming back, so it doesn't matter that you knew or didn't know that bit. But yeah, they don't really explain the Ilsa bit. Yeah, Rayner was supposed to be in this one, but apparently like he got delayed and moved around and he had to do Avengers, so that was why he didn't make it into this one. Not that they just pulled him because he was terrible in the other ones. Yeah. Question mark. But yes.
So how did you find it on the rewatch? Did it stand up? Did you still enjoyed it?
Yeah, I still enjoyed it. I think it had way more power on first watch than it does because I've seen this more than once as well. I think the more you rewatch it, that bell curve does come back into action a bit more. So I still enjoyed it. I mean, I might as well get into it now because we'll cover it off later. But the thing that I loved about the film the most is that bathroom scene. The fight scene in the bathroom scene is unbelievable. Like the choreography. The way they've designed it so it's so tight and it feels compact and you can't there's no sort of escaping because the door, they need to get him. He's nowhere near the door. And so it's just, you're like, well, it's just going to have to happen then, isn't it? And I really like the way they have like the different fighting styles for each of them. They set up like Henry Cavill. He's literally just like an old school type boxer, right? So he just boxes. Yeah. So I thought, and then there's so many good scenes where like he flips him and throws him through the mirror. The guy rips off the bit of metal from the sink and then like hooking them round and stuff. And he's obviously got it on Ethan's neck. That scene and the choreography on that scene is incredible. I thought that is an amazing scene. And it's so well done because obviously they're two incredible, I guess like agents or whatever they're supposed to be. And so they're supposed to be great. But this guy is like, managing to cover them both. And it's not like, in the olden days where Bruce Lee would be surrounded by 50 people and one at a time they come at him and he slowly, and he gets rid of them. That doesn't happen, right? Both of them go to him at the same time and he deals with both of them. So I think it's, unbelievable scene. Yeah. So that was really good. I really enjoyed that.
It felt a bit sort of, it felt sort of matrixy for like the gun. The gun fight when they're trying to go in and get Morpheus, because they're so obviously it makes it completely unrealistic, but like I agree that the way that they use the set and like they go through the mirror or he takes out like one of the partitions, and it's like I think that just sort of makes it more fun in a way because like it feels so physical because they're actually tearing apart the set as well. I thought that it was really good.
Yeah, they were saying that was one of the things I was reading up. They were saying that Henry Cavill was really worried about the throw because if he ever messed up, because obviously it's a long sequence and you can see it's all done in like one take, right? Like the camera's just all done together. And so when he did that throw, if he messes up the throw, obviously it breaks the mirror because it's just like sugar glass. And so then they have to redo the whole thing, and it took like 2 hours to rebuild the set. So he was like. He said he was so nervous doing the throw because if he messed it up, then he would have 2 hours extra for the production crew. But yeah, I think you're right. That's it actually moving things within the set as well, and then moving them around and it's sort of expanding and reducing makes it feel really good. I think you're right. It definitely does feel like that sort of Matrix piece as well when they go in to get Morpheus. It's that tight knit. You just can't. Both, one's not going to get out, one's coming in, and it's just like, it's just going to have to happen, right? And it's, So like, I think that was really good. I think the action sequence was really good. I did think the car chase was probably a little bit too long in the middle. I think it just felt like it went on a little bit long. And then maybe the film as a whole is maybe either a bit long or I think the story does feel a little bit thin. Like, I feel like you said, when they do have story scenes, they like really have to explain it because like there aren't enough of them. And so they have to explain it to you because otherwise you're not going to know what's going on. And obviously they've tried to make it semi-complicated with, the whole apostles and all that stuff. And so I think they could have done with maybe reducing like one or two of the action sequences a bit and then added in a bit more story, or maybe made the story a bit better. I think that for me is how I sort of felt after watching it this time. Still enjoyed it, but yeah, how did you feel then? So the first time watching it, did you just sit back and enjoy it, or just thought, it is what it is? It's just an action movie. It's a cruisy movie.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, the exposition was what was annoying me because they were trying to and there's so many double crosses where you're a bit like, and then this one's a double cross. So actually just kind of, it got to a little bit where I was just sort of almost found it a bit distracting. Like, again, like I said, I felt like you should have just been there and been like, guys, just don't they've got a nuclear bomb and they're going to set it off. Like, that's fine. That's all you have to do. Yeah. Just go and get the plutonium. And so I felt like the fact that they had the chase scene in Paris and then they had the chase scene in London. I kind of felt like, did you need both of those? I kind of felt like the whole London piece, even though like it's the rooftop chase, which is obviously in his contract, so he has to have that. And the running around in St. Paul's, and he's like, why is he running in circle? Like, that's all good. But like, it kind of felt like, did you need that as well? Or actually, could you have taken out London and then got, the double cross would have happened and then they would have gone to the final bit where, that's the thing. If you're going to have that much explanation, but then the finale is going to be, I'm going to, play Dodgems or bumper cars for our American audience in helicopters. then, you're just a bit like, well, come on, guys, this is so silly. Why have you bothered explaining everything? Just be like, they've got a nuclear bomb. We have to defuse it. And then you would be like, yeah, that's fine. This isn't, this isn't a drama. This is an action adventure. That's fine. Let's go.
Fine. We'll move on. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. They do massively overcomplicate it when you think of it like that. And you're right. They could have definitely pulled that back, and they didn't necessarily have to have as many characters in that. That you meet along the way. I think you're right as well. Definitely, you don't need the Paris and London scenes really, or you don't need them both at the same length. You could half both of them, or just keep one of them.
Yeah.
And like the Paris one's pretty good, right? So you'd probably, like you said, get rid of the London one. I mean, it's a shame. Obviously, he does do the rooftop running then, but I guess I'm sure he could have run in Paris. There's stuff to run in Paris. I'm sure there's probably a rooftop he could have run in Paris. So that could have been okay. Yeah, I do think rewatching it did feel the balance of story versus action was a little bit out of kilter. And it's funny that I say that, because obviously, I love Jason Statham films, and the story, I mean, to be fair to Statham films, he doesn't overcomplicate them, and that's what makes him great.
One thing he can say about Statham is he doesn't.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so there are a lot of action sequences because, there's not as much story. And you're right, and he doesn't complicate it. Whereas the Mission Impossible films, I would say they are more known as having a bit of story and a bit of depth to them. And maybe you're right. Maybe as they get further on, they're trying to just, do one better than the previous one. And then consequently, I find this happens actually a lot in franchises. The further you go on, they try and do better. And then consequently, that often means more action and at the detriment of the story.
Yeah.
So, this one did feel like maybe the story was, not strong enough. It was a little bit weak in parts. And also maybe the action just did go on a little bit too long at times. I must say, I like the scene when they're getting Solomon into the car. And they're coming up the lift or whatever, and like the barrier comes up, and there's the French cop that she's just there. I like that scene, and they're all just looking at each other, and they're like, God, and they're like, we've got just this guy with a bag over his head. And we're all like, she's like, what am I going to do? This looks really dodgy. And they're like, what are we going to do? I think they played that scene well. I thought that was good.
But it was funny because then he starts speaking French, and I was thinking, are they going to get him to speak French? And then again, like with the Bond comparison, I was like, does Bond ever speak anything other than English? No matter where he is in the world, I don't remember him ever speaking a different language. So you're just like... But
I think you're right.
Well, in the end, all they give him is Je suis désolé. So it was fine. It didn't go on.
Yes. I mean, you're right. I mean, they had to have him speaking French, didn't they? If he's like this international like agent and he can't speak any other language other than English, that would have just been like, you'd be like,
that would have made him a British agent.
You were perfect for the job, but unfortunately, there was one area you just fell down on. Yeah. You've been all around the world and you don't know any other languages. So, yeah. But that was good. Yeah, nice, man. Well, it feels like you enjoyed it. Like you took it on the way that it was, meant to be. Maybe a bit too much action at times, but yeah, I'm interested to get onto the scores then. So, shall we move on?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Well, in the new format, obviously, me scoring both of them on first watch. So
yeah,
I scored this. Now, you might not agree because you've watched the first watch in 2026 when you've also seen some of the others and you might be a little bit fatigued of them. But when I saw this in the cinema, I thought this was incredible. So I've given this 89 for a first watch. So big.
Wow. That is big.
It is big. So yeah, we're going to kick off with that. So I imagine the rewatch is probably at least half.
Yeah, well, I went with 57 for the rewatch because I didn't think it was more rewatchable than Roadhouse, and Roadhouse has 58. But like, the action sequences, the fight sequences, as you say, like even the chase ones. Yeah, you rewatch them, and it's you're probably almost on the rewatch. Just fast forward past the exposition, and you'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You're right. And is that, like you say, I think you've nailed it on the head, right? It is maybe the more modern action film. And you're right. Modern adventure film. And yeah, in an adventure film, you can just have it on in the background, can't you? You just, like you said, you dip in and out and go, oh, it's this scene. And, you just sit down and watch that scene. And then, oh, it's the rubbish bit of story again. I'll just like turn it off and I'll come back again when the helicopter scene's on. So,
I watched it on a streaming service with adverts. So every like 30 minutes I had adverts, and strangely it felt very, like, again, going back to how I used to watch Bond, it just felt very apt. And I was nice. Like, this seems good. So
had a little bit of nostalgia for you. That's good. So who knew? Everyone thought the ads was a terrible idea, but it's actually like it's helping out in some ways.
It's very retro.
Yeah. What about romance then?
Yeah, so I gave it 32 because they're trying to put romance into it.
His two loves of his life are both in this film.
But there's no chemistry between them at all, is there?
I mean, this is the unfortunate problem of Cruise, though. We've said this, haven't we? So, yes. Oh yeah, 32. All right, fair enough.
Okay, so action and like what's the highest action we've ever had? Let me. It was my ridiculous 98 for Total Recall.
Yes, that. I mean, there is some good, like, solid action in Total Recall, but yeah, I think this has more action in it. And weirdly, I've gone for 97, which is less than your Total Recall score.
That's high,
that's what makes it fun. Yeah, I think, I mean, as we've just said, isn't there? There's very little story in this film, and there's a lot, and the action is high-end, crazy level action. I was reading up as well with the Halo jump when obviously Tom Cruise did it himself, and it took him a year to learn how to do it. It's a special, like, military one that you have to learn how to do because you deploy the chute at such a low altitude. It's very dangerous, not for you, but also the other people that are there with you. So he did, like 170, and he did all, like, pretty much all the other stunts himself, and so he got into it, and then Tom Cruise had to say to him, look, you just can't do this. And he's like, no, I've got training, I've done this, I've done that, because he's had done some different types of jumps. He's like, I'll just jump out, it'll be fine. And then Cruise was like, I just can't let you do it. And he was like, apparently he said, I totally get it, I totally understand. Because obviously Cruise wants to do all his own stuff.
Yeah.
But he was like, I just can't let you do it. And he said, it's just going to be more dangerous to me than anyone else. And he said, you'd end up killing all of us because you'd end up hitting us. And we wouldn't be able to control you. So, apparently Henry Cavill retells that story. But, that's interesting, isn't it? Like, you get so into it where you're doing all these stunts, but you're like, I'm going to do this jump from, like, space, basically. And you're like, you've had no training, and I'm going to deploy my chute, like, 4 meters before the ground. You're like, why are you, like, no, you're not going to do that. You've not tried it. And also, I'm just going to do it once. I'm not going to do 180 jumps. Just do it now.
But the thing is, like, obviously you can do it in different ways. So again, is this just Tom Cruise thinking that he's Ethan Hunt? Because you could just do like a lower jump and deploy late, but then like,
that's not a Mission Impossible way. It has to be, it's all or nothing.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's got to that point where almost you hear about the stunts that he's done before the film comes out, and that's like half of the advertising, isn't it, really? So,
I mean, you're right, it is. And for him, I guess that's why he keeps coming back, is because he's like, he then gets to spend a year before doing the film where he just learns how to, like, jump, like, basically from space. I mean, that's great fun. Who wouldn't want to keep doing all these things?
Do that. He get paid for it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly, and get paid for it. So anyway, so 97 for action. So what about soundtrack then? Obviously a very, very good, well-known song, but is there enough throughout the rest of the film? That's the question.
So I gave it 54. I think there's quite a lot of times where they're like walking to the car. It's not tense at all, but the soundtrack's like,
it comes
on.
And
you're like, oh my God, this is so tense. And you're like, no, they're just walking to a car. So
yeah, fair. Yeah, no, I think that's probably fair. Like the main song is so good, but I don't think there's really much else inside it, really, is it? You wouldn't really go and buy the soundtrack on this one. But I mean, So last week you told us that you were going to take it on the chin, and you were going to provide better prompts. This is what we came up with. So I'm going to be interested to see what happens here, because these films couldn't be further away if we possibly tried.
Well, first of all, we've got a line for the pod as well.
Oh, of course. Apologies. Yes, I'm excited to see the mashup. But go on the line.
Yeah. Just an honourable mention to family. What can you do? Because that's always one. But I do like it when he says we'll burn that bridge when we get to it, and I feel like that's that's something for the pod. Let's start that internet fraud when we get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good line as well, isn't it? We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. It's nice.
Burn that bridge when we get to it. It's a good one.
Yes.
Okay, so the AI, it's gone. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's gone for the story's quite interesting, but there's a lot of text that I have to read now. So it's called Deep Cuts.
So hold on, could I just be clear? Is the AI also, as in the same way as Mission Impossible, it's going to explain the story overly too much to us? It's understood the concept of Mission Impossible so well that it's like, oh, I need to explain this really obviously. Nice.
Yeah, there's basically just tons of exposition in it. So it's really taken that on board. And,
nice.
Can't criticize it now.
Improvements.
9 years after an extraction in Tbilisi went wrong, disgraced Officer Wendell Marlowe, I don't know where they've got that name from, manages a customs bond warehouse in Antwerp and maintains a private, obsessively reordered ledger, The 5 Worst Things I Have Done. Ranked and re-ranked, annotated. It is the only honest record of his life, and it's also, though he'd never admit the craft of it, a target package because 4 of the 5 entries are people. When a decommissioned Russian dispersal corps surfaces on the grey market carrying his old tradecraft signature, Langley sends ILSA-adjacent auditor Nev Kavanagh to determine whether Marlowe is the leak or the loose end. He is neither. He is the index. The buyer has been working backward through all his mistakes, recruiting each one, the analyst he burned, the sister he let take a fall, the man he loved and left running, assembling a network out of Marlowe's regrets on the theory that a life catalogued in that much detail is really just an unsecured file. To find the core before it reaches a stadium in Rotterdam, Marlowe has to go down his own list in order, meeting each entry and discovering that his rankings are wrong, that he's spent a decade misremembering which betrayals actually cost something, and that the person he placed at number 1 has spent that same decade not thinking about him at all. The rooftop chase through the Scheldt cranes is only the second most punishing thing that happens to him. The tagline is, it's not what you stole, it's the order you put it in.
That's awful. I mean, it explains so much and also so little. I feel like I know so much of our bit of the story and understand so little about the rest of it. And how on earth, I mean, no one's going to guess the film. Obviously, I know what film that is, but no one's going to guess that. How is that linked? That's mad. Apart from the top 5.
No. Well, we'll keep working on the prompt. It's a difficult one to squeeze together. At least it didn't say
this one is hard.
Dating impossible. Someone goes through his past 5 loves and wears a mask in order to get them to
and
go out with him again.
And one of them's an MI6 agent. Yes. Yeah, true. Yes.
But the mashup is with High Fidelity. So a bit of a tricky one to squash together.
One, to be fair.
But a classic. So where did you have High Fidelity? I can't remember.
So when I saw High Fidelity, I was like, but I ranked it number 50, which felt higher than I, in my mind, thought it should have been. So there you go. Exactly halfway of the list. So,
Nice. I long for the day when we're halfway through your list.
Halfway through this. Well, we're getting close. I mean, obviously, banger after banger, as we've discussed. Yeah, for me, I put 43 the first watch for me. Not my favourite film. Yeah, 43. That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
What are you going with the rewatch?
So I gave it 66 because I think again it's quite rewatchable. And I think it's pretty rewatchable that you can almost have it on in the background and then like dip in and out on different scenes, and it moves pretty quickly. So
yeah, because it's not that long from memory. But well, romance, I imagine it's going to be higher than 32. I'd be disappointed if it's not.
Yeah, so 76 I gave it for romance. Yeah. I think the nice thing, and I think we covered it at the time, it just stops short of stalky.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it's tight.
So
it's tight.
It's close, but just at the last minute, it kind of it eases up.
It saves itself.
It just about holds up to the test of time.
And then the whole story is basically about romance, isn't it? The whole film is basically designed about romance. So yeah, it would have to be pretty high.
Yeah.
Well, yes, for action, I mean, obviously, as you said, it's 76 for romance. It's not really any action, really, from what I remember.
The skateboard bit?
The skateboard bit, yeah. So I gave it 10. So, it's just not really much action in it at all, really.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably fair. It does well in other categories, so yeah.
Yeah.
Soundtrack, I'd imagine it should do pretty well. What did you have for that?
I gave it 88, because obviously, the songs are pretty pivotal to the film. Yeah, it is a good soundtrack, so... Yeah, no, it's one of my favourite soundtracks. I still listen to it now. So
yeah, nice, fair enough. All right, shall I roll then?
Remember any lines for the pod?
Oh, of course. Sorry, I'm off. I'm so excited about everything today that I'm I'm just getting straight into the action. No, I did have a good one actually for the lines. Employees who sell records that they don't personally like shouldn't work here. Just kind of felt like maybe. If we just change records to films, and then like to remember.
That's why we left the shop and came down to the bar. Was you were fed up of selling films that you didn't like?
Selling films. Yes, exactly. So I thought that was quite a good one, because it's not always easy to find them, but that felt quite apt. Not as good as the banger one last week, but yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to roll because I'm pretty confident. I want to make sure I want to get my win streak back on. So I need to stop your streak. Here we go. Oh, it's action. Ooh, there you go.
Easy then. Easy win.
Easy. There you are.
Oh, that's 4 in a row. It's coming back.
That is. It is. See?
18-19. Just one behind now.
I told you there were bangers coming. You didn't believe me, and we're only at 63. Like
as soon as we've started doing the scoring a little bit differently as well.
Yeah, you seem to be winning on time. This is true, actually. Yes. Awkward. All right, nice. Fair enough.
Nice.
So, what character do you be? I do hope you put Ethan Hunt now, but what did you put?
I am Tom Cruise as far as I'm concerned.
Lovely.
The funny thing is that my parachute jump through the cloud was because I was in Mexico with someone who was clearly very hungover doing a tandem jump, and they decided that there was a rain cloud, so they went over the rain cloud. And apparently, I didn't know at the time, but my then girlfriend, now wife, was on the beach, and they were like, no, they were saying into the walkie-talkie, just go higher, it'll be fine. And she is fluent in Spanish, and she was a bit like, what the hell are you doing? And they were like, oh, you understand what we were saying? And they went above the rain cloud. So I think I jumped out like 1,000 feet higher than I was supposed to or something, because we had to go across this we had to go above this storm. And funnily enough, we came through in between two clouds, there was a rainbow in between the clouds, and that is like one of the best things I've ever seen, has to be said. So
well, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. And nice. I also wear a mask, pretend to be different people all the time. So
exactly.
It just feels
this isn't even your real voice. I've never heard your real voice. This is nice.
How about you then? Are you going the Henry Cavill to my?
I did. First off, I did go Henry, because I was like, everyone loves Henry. But then I was like, no, you know what? I think I'm going to go Ilsa. I think her character rocks. She's like solid. I love the scene at the bar as well, when he first meets the white flower or something, whatever it is. Yeah. And he's obviously taking people out, you know, to get her out. And then there's a one person at the end who's got the gun, and Ilsa just comes in and absolutely destroys him and then just gets up and walks away. And I'm like, that is cool. That was so cool. Yeah. So, that's who I'm going for. I think absolutely nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
she's good. She's good.
Yeah, she's very good in it. What about the characters doing today then?
I mean, they'd all be dead, obviously, very much easily. You know, just as a comedy podcast, I've decided that Ethan is now he's running a YouTube account where he runs in amusing patterns in cities and then shows shows them on Strava.
Lovely.
And for $99, he'll spell out your name as he runs in different cities all over the world. And Benji is obviously the YouTube administrator for that channel.
Yes. Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice. I can see that happening. I had him as he set up that show Alone, where people just have to survive, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. Like, I think like the latest one, they're on like the Antarctic or something, and I'm like, is this safe? I feel like we should be getting worried here. Anyway, so I reckon he'd set that up. Luther, I could just see Luther just playing backgammon in the park in New York now. I feel like that's what he does, you know, just gets on with that stuff. Benji's probably just died somehow. Like he's an IT analyst and he's somehow become a field agent. So I'm like, no, he's obviously dead. Like, that's not going to last, you know.
It's very, very similar to Simon Pegg. You're just an actor, and all of a sudden you're an action actor. How's that happened exactly?
I wrote down, how did Simon Pegg become cool? Like, when did that happen? So, not that I discourage him, but I was like, what's going on? He's like in all these films with Tom Cruise. He's now an action, like you said, he's an action star. I'm like, what's going on? And then also she just heads up MI6 obviously now. She's taken over. So that's what I had. What did you have then? Something you'd change?
Yeah, just make it simpler.
Yeah, fair.
It felt like they had the set pieces and then they wrote a story around it, and you're just like, but just don't. We don't need more of a story. Like, or almost like, you know, just take the cue from old Bonds. Just make it simpler. Like, all of the exposition just slows it down too much. Like, I like a double cross as much as the next person, but you know, come on, let's
there's only so many.
Out.
So I am going to remove this quote and store it somewhere, because for future pods, when we have the Statham films on, I just want you to remind yourself of this bit where you're like, you know, just pull that out. Don't overcomplicate it. So I'm just that quote is gonna come back out. So, I think that's fair enough. I think, I sort of said the same. Yeah, like you need to tighten it up a little bit, don't you? You need either remove some action, or you need to, like you said, like actually sort out, like simplify as you said, you know, it didn't need to be, the timer needs to be on and this and it. It could just be, we found a Death Star, random issue where you just pull this one thing out. It's fine. We can then detonate the wires. And also, that is such a weird one, isn't it? Like, obviously it's the end scene, and like, rather than figure out something quite complicated and quite convoluted, they're like, we just need to cut the wires, but we need to, you know, do something else first.
Yeah.
Pretty basic, right? You would have thought there'd be something else that might be, you know, a bit more complicated. But anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah. It just wasn't needed. Much like the singing in Hudson Hawk. You're like, no, it's great, but you don't need it.
You didn't need it, but then that does make that film. Whereas, this isn't needed in this film. I mean, I've already said what I loved. I loved the bathroom scene. I just think that is amazing. And I think all three actors are incredible in that. The choreography between them is brilliant. What about you?
Apparently the reloading of the arms was just completely, he just did it like a no, and everyone was like, wait, what did you just do? And he was like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, what did you do? And he was like, I didn't do anything. What do you mean? And like no one understood it. And it was just something that he did. And then went going, which I think is, just as good. Cool. All of the action sequences, up until the helicopter bit, which was just stupid. Yeah. But like, all of the action sequences are really good in this. And I think they're great. And as you say, like, even the fight in the club is good. And after the bathroom scene as well. So yeah, no, they are really well choreographed, and it's really good.
I wrote that down as well. I was like, what is it about action movies and nightclubs now? Like, when did that start? Was it Matrix? Is that when that's the first one?
Yeah.
But like, John Wick has the same, like all of them now have like nightclub scenes for some reason. I don't know why. But, I think that's fair, isn't it? Well, 3-star reviews. I imagine there's going to be a few of these.
Yeah, couple. Obviously, all of them sort of focus around Tom Cruise. Plenty of action in the form of car chases, but I don't think it's the best in the collection, even with Tom's broken ankle. As if, his broken ankle made a better film.
Added
which
more.
Is,
you know, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? He continued on, and the scene, I mean, I'm sure everyone would know the scene as he jumps over the roof and he gets, he breaks his ankle then, but continues on with the scene for the extra few frames. And you're like, it's pretty impressive. You can definitely tell, right? Yeah, you can say dragging
his legs. Yeah.
It's impressive.
Well, someone else said, Tom Cruise plays Tom Cruise with the obligatory motorbike scene, which I think is fair enough. I mean, is Tom Cruise playing Tom Cruise, or is Ethan Hunt playing Ethan Hunt? We'll just never know.
It's like, who is? Where does the reality end and the fantasy begin? Who knows?
Yeah. And then someone else just said, the guessing game about who's bad and good, no spoilers, just about held my attention. And they actually didn't add any spoilers. So it was no spoilers and no but, which is nice of them. So.
I think that's my most favourite 3-star review so far. I like that. And it's a good description of the film that is not overcomplicated, as we've just discussed, and hasn't ruined it for anyone. So,
just about held my attention.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like you still enjoyed it on the rewatch then.
Yeah.
Right now, and I always get these wrong, but right now, number 63 is that.
Yes.
I mean, again, I think you've still got quite a lot under 23, but you need to shuffle around, but you're not doing that. Yes. So, where's it going?
Yeah, I think it's going to go in at number 69. So, just above Clue, which is poor. I mean, I'm going to have to maybe move Clue up. Actually, it's going to have to go in at number 70. No, I don't know. There's so much nostalgia with Clue. That's a problem. But no, I'll stay at 69. It is a better film. Okay. I'm going to watch this more than I'd watch Clue, even though I do love Clue. 69 goes down a little bit just to fill in a gap. I think the more you rewatch it, the lack of story does hinder it a little bit, I must admit.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. 69. What about you?
Nice.
Did it make it into the good section? Was it firmly average? Okay.
It's a good film. A little bit too much exposition. So I put it in at 72. So it's just above Total Recall and just below Die Hard. But what a 3-film triple bill that would be.
I mean, that'd be a good weekend in, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think like that because Die Hard is that perfect thing of like it's still quite clever, but they don't over-explain it. And then in Total Recall, at times, obviously it is a lot of action, and then they maybe over-explain. There's aliens, and you're like, well, no, it doesn't matter. He's got to go to Mars to save the world. Like that's fine. Yeah, we just let us do that. So.
And then the whole thing of how silly it is at the end is that they've specifically designed this whole system, and they've got the print of their own whatever it is, claw or like different type of hand. So all right, it also works for human hands. So that's worked that so well. Great news.
Thanks,
guys.
Just don't overthink it.
Yeah,
as you're now getting tattooed on your arm.
True. Well, okay.
Nice.
So next week, here we go. So I've got interestingly, it continues the theme, I would say. Still sort of action adventure. Although I'd say this is a bit more action comedy adventure, maybe. So,
okay.
But we pull it back from 147 minutes to 126, much more reasonable. That being said, there's a little bit of a disparity between the fans and the critics. So, Rotten Score audience, 76, critics, 54, so didn't like it as much. Explosions, 6, deaths, 32, animated characters, 1. So, there you go. It's got everything you need in life.
Interesting. One animated character.
Yes, and it is from 2022, so it's a lot more modern. So we come forward in time. So here is the clue. 5 assassins find themselves on a high-speed train with interconnected missions and a lot of bad luck. Not very cryptic, really. Probably a bit too easy this week, but
yeah. Okay,
it was hard last week. Didn't know which mission it was.
Is this the most recent film
on the list so far? Well, I can tell you that within 2 seconds. Let's have a look. No, Piece by Piece, 2024. So, but it is the second. Classic. Yeah, yes, the second. So, yes, 2022. The next one is 2018, which was this one, ironically, Mission Impossible Fallout. So there you go.
Nice.
So there.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah. Well, we look forward to that then. We'll get more action, probably less explanation. I just remember it's, much more straightforward. Too straightforward. Yeah. Time will tell.
Yeah.
But, thanks to Tom Miller for the theme tune. We'll stay here and contemplate whether we're going to keep drinking and watch the rest of the Mission Impossibles, or whether we've had enough now and we just drink.